Yeah, if you missed last week, I had to leave, and I'm so sorry, Brian, and to everyone else. Here's what happened.
I really thought, like I texted you right after, like, dude, are you okay? What happened?
Here's what happened. So, like many people, I have a do not disturb mode when we're recording, and it's very hard to break through it. Like, you can't break through it unless you call me repeatedly, and you're in my favorites list.
That's the bat signal.
Yeah, and so I got like at 1:59, I got a phone call while you were demoing your thing. And it was my wife. And then I'm like, look at the time, and I'm like, oh my, because the episode just went longer and we had a sauna appointment booked. And so I was just like, I knew I could get there on time, but I knew I had no time to diddle. So I just left it live. Left you hanging.
I mean, you made the right choice. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be a recurring
sauna emergency.
So the real story, I mean, there's so much inside jokes about this now in chat. Oh my gosh. So good to see everybody. We're here.
Yeah. Justin lives.
Sauna priorities. That's people were like watching it. Here's the thing that scared me is we decided to do that experiment where I left that Riverside link in. Right. So that Riverside link, because I just left our recording going, any terrorist could have clicked that link, taken over my live stream, and ruined my life. But thankfully, that didn't happen.
Would have been funny if like you left that up all week long, and then like because I think we put it on your YouTube channel, right? So that then like your YouTube channel like blows up because of this. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
They're just, I mean, there were some funny jokes. People thought, that it was like the calming fireplace video or whatever. Mm-hmm. Someone said they thought they saw a mouse run by in the background. It was just all sorts of stuff. So I mean, maybe that'll be a recurring bit. I will just leave without notice, and
you never know when we're just gonna cut it off.
Okay, but we were right in the middle of you demoing a secret app. Can we bring it back to?
Sure.
That?
I mean, we don't have to go through the whole demo of it. I could talk about it.
Yeah. So, tell us about it.
Okay, so
it is not a pack of new filtered cigarettes.
No, I decided not to do the drop shipping cigarette business. Although that seems like would be maybe a better business than what Filterhawk actually is.
That would be hilarious if it was just you just put up a store on Shopify and it's just.
Well, I will say, I have so many different things to talk about related to Filterhawk.
Okay.
Overall, I'm really happy that I did the project. I see it as a success on a number of different metrics.
Okay.
But the metric that it is not a success is user growth and customers to paying.
But I mean, you just launched it. You sent one email.
Yeah, but I sort of expect it's going to be. I've talked about this before. How whenever you launch a new product, a new thing, like typically I always get some customers. Sometimes it turns into a real business. More often than not, it sort of gets to that like hovering state where I've got a few customers, a little bit of revenue, chugging along, but it's not a real anything. And I often kind of wish that the thing would just fail and I would just get a 0.
Yes.
I got a 0 on this one. And I'm actually kind of psyched about that in a way. Like that,
yeah, because the danger is if you got 5 paying customers or 10 paying customers.
Now I got to support them.
Then it was flat forever. Then but
it's not. Yeah, like I love the idea of just building tools and selling my byproducts. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, I built the thing because it is a tool that I am using on my Gmail inbox. It's active right now, and it's actually working really well. I'm super happy with it as a little self-made product. I'm also really happy that I spent only a week on it. The big win for me is for builder methods of like, this is helping me refine my product building and shipping process. I can get into that later, but the thing with Filterhawk,
this is the advantage for you is this is the epitome of selling your byproduct. It's like, well, I'm going to make it anyway for builder methods. Might as well put a sales page up. And by the way, there's some other things about Filterhawk that I think are interesting. Like, this site looks amazing. You did it very, very quickly. Branding looks great. Like, there's lots to glean from this.
I almost like this. I want to talk about the process of building it, but before, like, just without like bearing the lead, for those of you who've never heard of this Filterhawk thing before, my goal with it is it's a replacement for your Gmail filters. It's not a Gmail email client. Like, you will continue to use Gmail or whatever email client you use with Gmail. The goal of Filterhawk is you no longer have to use Gmail's built-in filters feature, which I think is terrible and chaotic and doesn't work most of the time, especially if you want to do anything a little bit more complex with your filters and labeling and stuff. So I've been so frustrated with that. You know, we all get so much noise in our inbox. So I started to play around with Claude to see like what's actually possible with Gmail's API. And it turns out you could actually do a lot with Gmail's API. And I essentially rebuilt a so much better version of Gmail's filters in this little Filterhawk app. And I sort of, on the marketing side, I sort of go through like, there are 4 or 5 like really bad pain points with Gmail filters. Like, you know, because like in my inbox, I do a bunch of things and it's super noisy, just like most people's. I get a lot, obviously a lot of cold email, and then I have a lot of like customer, like a lot of like Stripe notifications and money transfer notifications and auto paid receipts. I get a lot of that kind of noise. But then I get a lot of replies from my audience for my newsletter. I get a lot of survey responses. I mean like hundreds, you know, every couple of weeks it starts to pile up. So I have to have systems to like put all those things into buckets, into like separate inboxes so that I can process them separate from my primary feed of like actual business emails where I'm talking to people. So filtering and labeling is like super important to me. And so I built this thing, and it works actually so much better than like Gmail's actual filters. Like,
I was gonna say the UI you've created here looks so much nicer. Gmail's settings are weird. It's like once you go into advanced settings, it looks like they haven't updated it since they launched
in a
Gmail.
decade at least.
Yeah,
I mean, and like there's so many chaotic things about it. Like, first of all, so I have like one filter. A lot of these are sort of copied from or inspired from Hey, you know, Basecamp's Hey.
Yes.
Like I like some of their features. I just don't want to use Hey in general. So like one is like I have my version of the paper trail, right? Which is mostly like receipts or like money transfers, things that are like sort of on autopilot, but I still want to have a record of them in my inbox. I don't want them to be like new emails that I have to click every time. So I have like a complex filter that checks for things like, you know, Stripe payout notifications or Stripe payments or transfers to my bank or, you know, bill was auto paid receipt. But I also have to have that. I also have to have that filter customized so that I don't miss emails from real customers who might be asking a question about their receipt that they just received from me.
Yeah, I've had this exact situation.
So I have to really carefully dial in these filters. So, and like with Gmail filters, you could do these like complex queries, but those really never work, honestly. And then like the other thing is like you never really know, like if I have like 10 or 15 different filters piled up in Gmail, you never know which order they're going to run in. So in Filterhawk, you can literally drag and drop and make a priority order. Like when a new email comes in, process it in this order. If it passes these filters, do this. If it doesn't, then move on to this filter. You know?
Yeah. I've had that. This is exactly the situation I've run into with Gmail's filters.
Yeah. So anyway, like it works really well. Like on my inbox, I could, and I almost decided not even to offer it as a product for people to buy. Because my hesitation was, and this is probably why most people are not signing up for it, at least just based on my tweet launch of it. But like, I'm not surprised. Like people would, maybe they just don't feel the same pain with Gmail filters and their inbox as I do. They're sort of happy with whatever systems they have, which is, I get that. But also I would understand like people aren't ready to just connect their Gmail to some new bootstrapped startup tool. There's a lot of privacy and trust issues there. I did build in like some encryption kind of stuff, and also like the ability to like automatically purge your emails from our system even after a couple of days, like after the filters have run. But anyway, like that. So I'm not really surprised that it's not going to be like a flyaway success as a product, but but I'm still happy that I'm really, to me, it was also like a breakthrough in my process for building on so many different levels. I mean, we can get into that, but I feel like I had a major breakthrough with this.
I mean, I do think you should A/B test this with this branding instead and just see how it works. Because I think that might,
those cigarette companies, they did figure something out. So.
I mean, I think there's certain characteristics that are kind of like the death knell for bootstrapped software products. And one of them is like, if you have to get an engineering team to install a code snippet or configure something in their app to get it to work, that friction and how it just stops people from signing up and activating, that is hard. And then there's also privacy issues. There's also giving it access to my Gmail. I mean, even for me, like Superhuman, I was like, I don't know about this.
I don't know about that. Yeah. And I did it with this other company, Shortwave, for a while, but part of it was because it was like, I don't know them and they don't know me. So that makes me feel a little bit better about it somehow, and to be clear, like I didn't really market this in any real way. I just did a tweet and a Bluesky about it. So in some ways that's better though. If we're talking about this kind of fail fast approach, I've like over my life, I've tried dozens and dozens of products, and my favorite thing to do is to mock it up as a prototype, create a video of it, start sending it to people, and just see what their response is. And as soon as I get back, well, this is pretty good, but I would really need it to do this, or this is pretty good, but I would need to like, this isn't really the way we do things, or I'm like, okay, like if I get too many of those, I'm done. And I think, there's some wisdom in not persisting. But also now we are in an era where like instead of just having a fake mock-up of the thing, I could just build it in a week.
Yes. Now that's what I want to hear about. How? Because I mean, people are saying a bunch of things here. People are saying they like the design of this marketing site is great, branding is great, and then like how did you actually build? I want to this.
Yeah. Okay. So like, first of all, I set out. Like I had actually a bunch of other projects going on over the past week. Mm-hmm. So actually in reality, if I were to only work on Filterhawk and cut out all my other things going on, I think the whole project start to finish would have been like 4 days, maybe tops, something like that. There was a weekend in there, plus there was like some other projects going on. So it sort of stretched to like 7 to 10 days, but like I actually worked on this project like 4 days essentially. And so, okay, like when I set out to do it.
Yeah, this is what I want to know. Is this a new project? You're the Agent OS guy. Do you just have a like default spec plan that you just drop into every new Rails project that just like, these are the best practices for a Brian Castle app?
Well, the thing I'm really psyched about this project is that I redefined a lot of those best practices for myself.
Okay.
I took a totally new approach on so many different things on this project than I've done in the past. First of all, I actually didn't end up using Agent OS at all on this.
Okay.
I did do a version of spec-driven development. I still think that's a core thing.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I'll sort of like run through it. Like, first of all, one thing that's super different. Well, all right, my goal going in was like, let me see how fast I could possibly build this tool that I want to have for myself. I actually set myself a deadline of like about a week.
Okay.
And I knew some of these things that I'm about to talk about, I knew I was going to experiment with these things. And my hypothesis was like, maybe if I do these experiments, I actually can move like 20 times faster than I've moved in the past on everything else that I built. Even with AI in the past, I still felt like I was very slow. Okay, so like number one was, I've always been like a pure Ruby on Rails stack guy, meaning like Rails, Stimulus JS, Tailwind, Rails like import maps. I always stay away from React and Node, and like didn't want to touch that stuff. I just pure Rails, right? Instrumental components that I made was, all pure Rails, Turbo, Rails, Stimulus, all that.
Yeah.
This time I ended up going with Rails, Inertia, and React.
Wow.
And Shad CN UI components.
Okay.
So totally like my first time. I've dabbled with that Inertia React thing just to sort of learn it a little bit, but I'm no expert with that stack at all.
Yes. Why the decision to go with React? Is it just because you assumed AI is so good at React that it would be worth experimenting with, or?
Yep, that was part of it.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if this is actually a requirement with Shad CN or not, but like that stack, that combination of things seems to be, it's becoming a super norm. Like, even like if you use like Claude, just within Claude, the web app, not Claude Code, like it's going to use React and Shad CN components and stuff,
Yeah.
So that was one thing that was totally new. And then another thing was, this wasn't specifically a goal of mine, but it turned out to be true. For all of Filterhawk, the application and the marketing site. The marketing site is a one-page HTML, by the way. That's nothing more than that. Application and marketing site, I did not hand code a single line of code myself. Not one. Everything was through AI.
100%.
100%.
AI generated.
Like generated, that's a weird word, right? Like I designed and directed, I would say, and architected everything.
For the marketing site, did you give it a mock-up or a wireframe?
No. Okay. So like I guess you could say it's like generated.
Okay.
But I can get more into like the design phase too. Like that's a new approach as well.
Wow. Did you record a video on this, by the way? People are already asking about that in the chat.
I didn't. So like one of the things was like, let me see how fast I can do this experiment and as a learning project. And then like on the next app that I build, I'm gonna take it slower and record myself every step of the way, So by
the way, take my money on that. Like I don't think I'm the only one here listening to you going, I would pay to see that. Like I want to see Brian build it. Like everything you're describing is just like, wow. And it has that unexpected feel too. Like that you didn't hand code anything. That's like, okay.
I didn't even really set out to do that. Like as I got into it, I was like, this is how I'm building now. And it's like, that's,
okay.
Maybe later on today we can talk about like, I am moving towards that, like doing some sort of course inside Builder Methods to talk through this process and everything. But well, another thing, all right, so when it comes to design, another new approach that I took was I started in Claude.ai, like the web app, talking with Claude about the specific requirements, the problems that this product should solve. We have a conversation about that. And then I asked it to generate a JSON sample data set for let's say like the workflows page where you're designing your filter workflows for Filterhawk. We sort of hammered out like what the capabilities and the feature set need to be on this through like a discussion with Claude. And then I said, okay, based on that, now generate for me a JSON sample data set for what the workflow page would require in terms of the raw data. And it generates that. So we don't have any sort of like real database yet. This is pre-coding. Like this is like in the planning phase.
Okay. Sorry, is this in Claude code or Cursor?
This is actually happening in Claude, the web app, Claude.ai, like
you just chatting with Claude in the web.
Yeah. This is like before I even open up Cursor.
Okay.
So I did like a day of this where it was like, okay, we're gonna work on like the main workflows page first and talk through the requirements, get a JSON sample data of that, and then using the sample data, I then ask Claude, okay, now design me a mock-up of the user interface for the workflows page using the sample data that you just created.
Oh, interesting.
The key insight here, and I heard this from a different podcast, but like the key insight, what I used to do was ask Claude to do the same thing, like generate a user interface for this sort of app. It needs to do this, this, and this. But without that sample data, it sort of adds in all these other little bells and whistles, or it's missing some bells and whistles that I need. It doesn't quite get the details right. So by going step one, discuss and sort of shape up what it's going to be. Step two, generate just a sample JSON data set. And then step three, based on that, then you end up with a UI that's like exactly what you need to, like the exact buttons and functionality are all there.
Wow.
Right. That was a key insight.
Yeah.
And then even that is not even what ends up being the app. All that does is it's essentially like a mock-up. Like it does code it up like in an artifact in Claude, but I just take a screenshot of that and then I'm bringing that into Cursor. So that's like phase one. I do that for like maybe 3 or 4 of the main sections of Filterhawk. And then I go into for this I did use Cursor 2.0.
Okay.
Well, here and there, I opened up Claude Code, but for the most part, I was using Cursor to build.
With which model?
I flipped back and forth between Sonnet 4.5 and Composer 1.
Okay.
And then also for some of these features, a lot of them, I had those two models compete against each other with the same prompt, build the same thing at the same time, and then I choose the winner.
Oh, I didn't know you could like have those things in parallel.
That's a new thing in Cursor 2.0.
Oh, interesting.
You can sort of spin up multiple competing.
And now that everyone's also saying this Gemini 3 model is very good.
Yeah, I haven't had time. I haven't had a chance to check that out yet, but I definitely plan to. And also their new IDE looks really cool too.
Okay.
So that's essentially what I did. So then in Cursor, instead of using Agent OS, I just did it's a very similar process. I used spec-driven development, and by that I mean I used plan mode first.
Yep.
For every big feature. I broke the roadmap down first, right? Like, here's the roadmap. It's like 5 or 6 phases. We're going to have a dashboard. We're going to have workflows. We're going to have email audits. Integrate with the Gmail API. All that is sort of like in a roadmap. And then for each one of those big features, I go into plan mode. And in plan mode, I give it the screenshot of that mockup that I did earlier. I give it the JSON sample data that I already created earlier. I give it like a markdown file that was generated from my shape up, discussion with Claude. I'm like, this is the next thing I want to build. Now make a plan. And so both Cursor and Claude Code do this. It's the same feature. And Agent OS does it too, but now these tools have it built in.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, when you say each feature or are you starting a new chat for each of these things? Like it's like new chat, or are you just in one chat doing it, or like
new chat? I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like one big feature is probably like one big chat, I guess. And so let's see. So then you create a plan, and the other thing that is great, I think, about Cursor and Claude Code, and Agent OS has this too, but now honestly I just interchange, like they're doing the same thing. This is spec driven development, which is it's not only just making, before it even makes the plan, it asks you clarifying questions. This is so key, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I want to do. I give it sort of like my big spec, my screenshot, my JSON. Now ask me back clarifying questions. Sometimes I tell it that, but actually these tools will do it automatically.
Nice.
It's going to send me 4, 5, 6 clarifying questions to really dial in the scope. Do you want it to work this way or that way? Or should we assume this, or we're not going to handle this or that edge case, right? A lot of those questions, we dial it in, and then it generates the plan. It also generates a task list for itself. And now it has that's a spec, right? Like that's ready to go. And then I have it build. And if it's a bigger feature, then I will probably use 2 or 3 different agents building the same plan at the same time, and then I can compare which one does it best. Now, when you do that, it's going to cost you like 2 or 3 times more. The
tokens, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm still on the $20 plan. I think I haven't done as much, but I'm assuming
I actually am too on Cursor. But this month, like my overage is like over $150.
Okay.
Because I use it a lot. So,
but it is interesting. Like I can see situations where I'd be like, you know what, for this, I want to, have it build a few things in parallel and just compare. It's like, okay, let me see what you did here. Let me see what you did here. I might like one better than the other.
Yeah,
that's really
I think
interesting.
It's worth doing that for like really big and maybe really critical features.
Yeah.
But then, so then I get a big feature built, and I mean, literally, it takes like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the key insight with all this is like spend hours, maybe even days in the planning, and then have the agent build it in like 10 minutes. Like
yes,
that's the workflow,
Yeah, and how often are you reviewing the code?
Okay, so then we get into this next phase, which I think of as like refinement. Right?
Okay.
I do a little bit of code review, but a lot of it is like a lot of that is even in the upfront planning. Like I want it architected this way. The database modeling should work this way. Let's name this that. Let's make sure we have a component for this. Like I'll include that kind of stuff in the planning. But then when it's done, the design is pretty good. Like again, like we're using Shad CN components, so like there's a lot of like quality sort of baked in from there. But
is there a reason you chose Shad over Tailwind components or your own components? Like, why did you make that decision?
Well, it is using Tailwind, but not Tailwind components. I think because of like the popularity of Shad CN and like the way that it works so well with like React and inertia. I don't know. Like it just seems like that's like a popular combo.
Yeah. And you wanted the experiment. And part of the experiment is let's choose some frameworks that AI should be really good at because there's just lots of source material. So there's been
and
hundreds of thousands of layouts built in Shad, probably.
Totally. And I know that they've gone through a few versions and they're really good now. And like, but they're also very like plain vanilla, like customizable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I still have my touch on like, all right, I want the colors to be this. I want the fonts to be this. So we need to smooth out this UI a little bit. Like you could still customize them,
Yeah.
So then there's like this refinement phase, right? Like, so it built a big feature. I would say it's like 90% I'm happy with it. And there's 5 or 10% that we need to refine. We need to fix. We need to clean it up, polish it up. And so that's where I really love the idea of using Composer in Cursor.
Okay.
The Composer model is so fast
Okay.
that it's like I just have to have a thought and say it into my microphone, and 30 seconds later it appears on the screen. It's just so freaking fast.
Are you using this microphone mode in Cursor too? The voice input?
I just use Whisper, like Super Whisper on the, that app.
Oh, I haven't tried Super Whisper yet, but there is a voice input icon here, but
they added that in, but I use Super Whisper anyway. So
okay, I got to check out Super Whisper.
Yeah, the other popular one is Whisper Flow. I've been sort of bouncing between those two.
Okay. Man, I'm like a Luddite. I'm like an old guy.
I'm like, it's so weird. Like I'm speaking most things into the computer these days.
Wow, that's this is like when we talk about living in the future, like stuff like this, and the fact that this is widespread. Because I've heard people talking about this, like, oh yeah, it's just Whisper. I just use Whisper, or whatever. It's like, wow, like I haven't even tried this yet.
Dude. I've been on this for a couple of months, and it has changed the way I interact with the computer, 100%.
Interesting. And one of my kids is dyslexic and already uses a lot of voice to text, but this just feels like the next level. Like you can.
Yeah. There's little things that I find kind of annoying. Like if I need to like say like the name of a coding variable, it doesn't quite get that right. But like, for like, if I have to write like more than 2 or 3 sentences, I'd much rather just say it than type it.
I wonder if Cursor's voice input is better attuned to like variables and things like that. Okay.
I haven't really tried it because I've just had this installed on my Mac. So
yeah.
But yeah, like just the speed of using Composer. I've heard the new Gemini 3 is also very fast. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but this is where like speed really matters in a coding model, because it's like, especially for these like quick fixes, like, oh, let's change let's clean up this UI, or like change all the instances of this on the page. Like,
yeah,
it's just so fast at doing those things,
I can't wait to try that, because this has been my normal kind of collaborative workflow. Is if I'm pairing with somebody, it's often like, okay, let's bring it up. Okay, well, why don't we try, let's try changing this. Let's try modifying this. Let's get into dev tools and change some things there and see what it looks like. But this feels like an even better version of that, because it's probably way faster and just, perfectly attuned in all the right ways.
Yeah. I mean, so like that's essentially how I did it. And then like, the more manual parts were like deploying it. I used my typical workflow, which is I like to use Hatchbox.io with DigitalOcean. So I set that part up manually and deploy it. And then the marketing site is a 1-page HTML. So I first had Claude help write the copy, and I went through multiple iterations on that, and I would write my draft, like here's the problems it solves, and here are some raw ideas for copy ideas, but now give me some pretty good copy on that. It gave me back, and then now based on that copy you wrote, let's design a marketing site for this. Claude Code just recently released, like the team at Claude Code just recently released a front-end design skill. So they have like a skills feature in Claude Code, and then they like prepared this like special like front-end design skill, which essentially gives
access skills in Claude.
What is they sort of have like a blog post about this. We can get it linked up. But, it's essentially it gives Claude Code like sort of some extra muscle when it comes to designing a really nice both UI or a marketing page. And so I installed this skill that they were promoting on their blog, and it did actually improve. It gave me a less like generic looking thing.
Okay.
And I did go through a few iterations on the marketing site with Claude, and then I did the video demo things that are on there. I used Screen Studio for that. I mean, that's about it.
Wow. Is Hatchbox like a...
Oh, and then I hosted it on Cloudflare, and then the whole thing went down.
But what better time for it to go down than with a new app? Is Hatchbox like similar to Laravel Forge? Is that what this is? It's like a way of
Yeah, I
deploying
think it
and provisioning.
Forge, yeah, Forge does that too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so this is by Chris Oliver. He's the same guy who does Go Rails.
Okay.
He has this Hatchbox, which is like a little SaaS that yeah, is essentially the Laravel Forge for the Rails space.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Laravel Forge. I
Yeah.
love it.
I think at this point, like Forge, I actually do also use Forge for the Clarity Flow marketing site. And Forge is so much nicer in terms of a user interface now.
Yeah, they just updated the UI.
Hatchbox could use some love on that front, but it still works, really well and really reliably. He's got a nice little tool there. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great, dude. I mean, I think again, judging from how people are reacting in chat, I think a lot of people would love to see that whole flow as a video, and just even having it broken down. Like, here's how. There were so many times when you were describing it where I was like, oh, I wish I could just see Brian using cursor, because actually that's where things kind of get unlocked with video. Is it's like, oh, that's
Totally.
how they do it. And you might not even think to describe it that way,
Well, I mean, this is what I've been noodling. I don't want to like talk the whole episode here. We can jump over to something you have and come back to me. But that is like the next thing that I'm noodling on right now for builder methods, is sort of like putting together this flagship. I'm sort of like, maybe I'll call it like the builder method or something like that. Like the process, like breaking it down into a framework. And anyway, like I have more to say about that, but why don't we stop?
Sure. I mean, I
me
don't
for
have a lot
minute?
right now. The thing I was working on today, and that we've been working on kind of for a little while, was doing a Black Friday sale for Transistor. We haven't done a lot with Black Friday. And
do you usually do a Black Friday sale?
we usually do something, but in terms of like making it a concerted effort and really like sending it out an email and giving it, in this case, we gave it to all existing customers as well. And the nice thing about...
You do?
Yeah. Well, the nice
That's
thing about
interesting.
being around for a while is you can go back into your history and go, what have we done in the past? And, we've done all sorts of promotions that we track either in Rewardful, just using referral links, with a 0% campaign. So even for non-affiliates, I have this one affiliate, which is basically me, that's 0%, but I create all these referral links there, and then we can track campaigns. How many visitors are we getting for things?
That is a really, and that's such a great, simple tool. It's made for affiliates, but it's so great for that.
It's just helpful because, I mean, sure, things can get blocked and whatever, but it's directionally kind of the best. It's like, oh, we sponsored a newsletter. How many clicks did we get from the newsletter? And then how many later actually started a trial? So looking back, and then we have coupon codes in Stripe.
Wait, so just to be clear, you like, I don't know, are you announcing what the Black Friday sale is? So like, what's the discount, or what's
It's 20% off all of our yearly plans. So our annual plans are already discounted. You get 2 months.
For life or for?
Just one time. For 1 year. Yeah.
So, but when you say you offer to existing customers, does that mean like everyone is just automatically getting 20% off for their next year?
So the policy is any existing customer on monthly can switch to an annual plan and get 20% off. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the thing that made me think this would be worth trying again, and we'll see, is, we have tons of coupon codes in Stripe. And when you look at how many times they've been redeemed, like, it's for all sorts of things. We sponsored a conference. We sponsored a newsletter. We did some ads. Whatever. And you look at the actual redemptions. So there's 2 ways for us to track, did a promotion or a campaign work? 1, in Rewardful, and 2, with coupon codes redeemed. And there's just not very many things that we've done, both paid and non-paid, sponsoring creators, sponsoring videos, doing all sorts of stuff, even some massive audiences. not much actually results in paid customers. What has always worked for us is the content that I'm producing, the SEO stuff that I'm producing, the brand building that I'm doing. It's like our funnel is, affiliates did help early on. We had a few key affiliates that I think helped level us up, but generally it is not paid acquisition, and generally it's what we're doing. It's our engine.
If I had to guess, like the hypothesis on that is it's just like podcast hosting is not an impulse buy.
Yeah.
You buy it when you're ready.
Yeah, you buy it when you're ready. That's right. Yeah.
So if you know, if you've been following Justin, or if you've been following the content, or if you're Googling, like with SEO, when you're ready, when you have the need, you go to Transistor. That's why it's like, it's not like Black Friday is going to prompt all these people to start a podcast this month.
No,
right?
No, that's right. And here, I wonder if I can show you this without giving out too much. So here's a little screenshot of my rewardful dashboard. And I won't share this forever, but I'll just put it up on screen here. So, this is for a given time period, but you can just see, like, we've got there's different things that have resulted in a bunch of visits. And then this is the actual number of customers we got from each of those things. And so, yeah, you can go down and you're just like, oh, wow, we sponsored that person and we didn't get a lot out of it. At least not in terms of
But I also wonder if it's
clicks.
like you just don't see it in those numbers, right? Like you sponsor this conference or you sponsor this podcast, whatever.
Yes.
You don't see those referrals, but people heard about you then. And then when they start a podcast 5 months later, they come around.
I mean, and I see this all the time in the responses to these "why'd you sign up" emails. Like people that have been, I had one yesterday, someone who bought my course, Tiny Marketing Wins, like whatever, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, and has just always been kind of following me. And his boss was like, hey, we need podcast. And he's like, oh, I know who to recommend. And then we got the sign up from that. So the interesting thing is to look at the coupons. Now, I'm not going to share this, but let me just go to my coupons list here. And redemptions. So I said, what is of all of the things we've ever done, how many coupons do we have? We've got, there's no count, but it's probably 50 or 60 things we've tried, maybe more. Here's Black Friday 2022. We only got 6 redemptions. Let's find something else here. Tons and tons of sponsoring things. Like people say, hey, like sponsor our thing. And I give them a coupon, 0 redemptions, like lots of that. But the the most redemptions we ever had was Black Friday 2021. And that was when we did this 20% off yearly plans, and we gave it to existing customers, and we gave it to new customers. And here's an interesting thing. I think I can show you this. I did a little. Do you ever use Sigma? In Stripe?
No, I know you've showed a bit of it before.
Yeah. Okay. I think I can show you this, but basically, I created a little Sigma thing. I'll show it. What the heck? Where is it? Just gotta make sure I'm sharing the right thing here. Yeah. So. Here I'm saying, I just basically said, compare the lifetime value of a regular customer and the LTV of anyone who used this Black Friday coupon back in 2021. Well, average LTV for Black Friday users is over $1,000. And
interesting.
And then the average LTV for all other customers is $543.
All right. Well, just to question that number there. That's Black Friday 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the all other customers, is that factoring in like recent customers?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to drag it down, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I should have I should have.
You should do like all other customers that started
Yes.
before like 2022 or something like that.
Yeah. I still think, because I know our average calculated by Stripe, like in our dashboard, and Black Friday is still higher. So I think the LTV we get in the Stripe dashboard is, I'll just say $900. So Black Friday is still above average by $200 or $300.
Yeah. And also because it's like Black Friday, they're getting an annual plan too. So that'll increase.
That's the big thing. Yeah. Is they're getting an annual plan. It's nice at the end of the year, even from a cash flow perspective we like to give our employees a profit sharing bonus. So it's nice to have a big influx of cash at the end of the year. We have to pay our corporate taxes, pretty quick after into the new year. So it's nice to have cash for that.
That's a good point about the annual. Like I actually do a Black Friday for Clarity Flow, and it's always like sort of doesn't really move the needle all that much, but I think it's something like a 3-month discount. I should just do an annual discount.
Yeah. The advantage again is like in terms of LTV, I think, and I can run some more queries on this, but I think generally our annual customers have been higher LTV because they're paying it. And then it's like, even if your payment goes through again, and you're like, do I want to keep this podcast up? Well, I'll just give it another year and then we'll evaluate in a year. So people give it more time. New podcasters don't just, start and then be like, I'm giving up now. They usually will give it more of a go. So it encourages people it gives people more
time. I already paid for the year, so I might as well.
Yeah. Well, and it gives people more time to breathe and be creative and, let it happen, as opposed to, oh, dang it, it's been 2 months and I still haven't recorded an episode. In this case, people are like, well, 3 months in, I'll record my first episode and, we'll get going from there. So
I am going to probably do a Black Friday on Builder Methods Pro membership. So it'll be interesting. Like this is the first Black Friday for this new business. So it's like everything right now is like a first time for everything. So I'm getting like the very first data in.
Yeah.
And I've done Black Fridays for most of my products in the past. I don't think I really did it for Audience Ops, but I did it all the time for Productize, the course, like that being a course sale. Like that was always a big influx of cash, was the Productize Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
And then this one, so it will be interesting. Like I don't know what to expect with, I'll probably take $100 off the Builder Methods Pro membership for your first year. And I have noticed, so we're in November and sales were pretty good at the beginning of November for Builder Methods Pro. I'm getting like roughly like at least one new sign up a day, sometimes multiple, which has been great. Like revenue and customer growth has been really solid for the first 3 months straight. And if this continues, I'll be flying high. I'll love it. But I did notice, I would say in the past 1 week, it like noticeably slowed down. And so my guess there is like maybe people are anticipating like there's probably going to be a sale on Black Friday.
Yeah.
That's my one guess. But then if I also predict the flip side of that, maybe the reason why Black Friday won't work so well in this business is because I sense that a lot of the customers buying are just using their company credit card from their employer.
Yeah, but still, company credit card, I have this distinct memory, first startup job. And, Twitter's just starting. There's just starting to be this kind of like, I'm just starting to get into like these kind of, what group am I in? So I'm following all these people. I'm following all the Panic people. They make all the different
the Panic software.
Yeah, and at the time they had that. Well, they still have their code editor, and all the cool people I knew were using Panic's code editor
back in the day.
Yeah, and so I just remember like me and this other designer at the startup were like super into Panic as a company and just like wanted to support them and get in on the cool kids club that were using Coda. and they had a Black Friday sale, and it just made it so much easier to pitch it to the boss. Like, hey, like, here's this really cool editor. We've wanted to try it. It's on sale. And my boss was like, okay, sure, whatever. And, you know, we bought it. So
that's interesting though. I mean, I feel like that might have just been your shop. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I don't know what the real dynamics are in these companies where it's like you get the, like I question, like, is Black Friday a real driver if the sales are coming from like business
let me
expenses?
See how many corporate.
I feel like Black Fridays are more for like consumer or prosumer. Like, I'm using my own money and I need to save a few bucks.
I mean, even for us, like let me look at redemption so far. So I'm looking just at the top 10, and there's 2 Gmail and 8 corporate domains. So 8 out of 10, and at least on this screen, I could load more, but are corporate domains, not Gmail.
So I mean, it'll be interesting, you know.
Yeah. I think for your product, it makes sense. I think you also have a lot of people that are. It also just gives.
I mean, there are plenty of like independent like people using their own.
Yeah,
like,
and
it's not all employer based.
I think with yours, it's like you just need another touch point. Like, one thing I do think that happens a lot inside companies is people need a nudge. So they get nudged once and they're like, oh, I should talk to the boss about that. And then it's like, that's uncomfortable. I'll just leave it. And then there's another nudge. It's like, oh, wow, now Brian's released all this stuff. I should really talk to the boss about that. Okay. And then, then they're in a meeting and the boss goes, hey, everybody, like, we want to spend some money if year-end purchases. So if you have anything you want to put through, just let us know. And then they're like, oh, now's the time to get it, right? So multiple.
And I know that there's a lot of companies who are like, we need AI training, so spend whatever you want on that.
That's right. What's their number one stress going into the holidays? Anything else you really want to chat about?
Yeah, I mean, actually, like, speaking about that, like, the big thing on my mind right now is it's starting to shape up in my mind. Like, this is like phase 2 of Builder Methods.
Okay.
And it continues what we were talking about earlier, like the process of like. I do think that I feel like I'm starting to step back and say, like, there's a bunch of things that I'm really liking about Builder Methods. There's a few things that I feel like are incomplete or still have gaps.
Okay.
First of all, like, just the revenue has been solid. Like, first 3 months, it has already crossed or exceeded like my target revenue for a business. And if it just matches or exceeds for every month for the next 6 months, I feel like finally, like, this is the business that
you
I'm
got
in
it
for a while. Yeah.
Well, that's a big
it already
deal.
feels that way right now, but like, it's only been 3 months,
I mean, we should definitely applaud that. That's great, dude.
It's like above 5 figures a month in revenue, and
nice.
Just crossed 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like, it's a solid thing now.
The funnel's working. People are seeing videos.
I have a distribution channel. The email list is growing every single day. Customers are buying almost every day. The workshops have been selling pretty well. The areas where I feel like, I think it's pretty clear that I'm missing the flagship content piece. I think I have the product in Builder Methods Pro. Like, that's going to remain the thing that I'm selling. But what you get inside feels incomplete still.
Okay.
And I think the thing that's missing, and I have had, I would say two people have asked for cancellations and refunds. And they're basically citing, like, I was sort of looking for more structured training.
Okay.
And I don't really have that. Like, when you get inside right now, you get the Discord, and I do have a bunch of like private videos in there, but it's just me, like, here's the thing that I built today. Let me show you how I built it. I don't have like a structured curriculum or course or framework. There's Agent OS, but that's sort of like a separate thing. And honestly, like, if I'm really honest about it, I feel like Agent OS still attracts a lot of users and interest in my stuff, but I'm personally starting to distance a little bit from using Agent OS because the underlying tools are getting so much better now that like it starts to become a little bit too heavy-handed for like
and it's actually better for you to just take that philosophy and help people, like instead of you having to maintain this package that people are installing and have questions about, like just let Cursor deal with that, and then you can still get all the benefits of having done Agent OS because now you're the spec-driven development guy. But now it's like, hey, you know what? Cursor does this great, but here's the philosophy. Here's how to use it. That's
exactly, you nailed it. That is exactly my I've started to use exactly that kind of language in a lot of my videos lately. And so my thinking now is like, now that I can like reflect back on like the process that I experimented with Filterhawk, I'm going to run that process again on whatever my next little tool is going to be.
Yeah.
And then again after that. And so now I'm starting to develop an actual development process for, because I really think that this is what we as professional builders actually need. It is, I think part of it is like we all still, a lot of us still think in terms of being hand coding, like full stack developers and using AI to help us hand code faster. But we're now entering the phase where it's like, no, like we have to rethink from fundamentals. We are context engineers now. We are agentic. Like our role is to be product managers, product architects, and the actual coding generally should be done by AI, and we interface with the AI agents, and we have complex, highly capable tools for doing that now.
Strong stance.
It is, but like honestly, like that is where we are. Like I know there's a lot of people who are like not on that page yet. I get that, but look, like these tools and the models underneath them have advanced so much just in the last like 4 or 5 months that it's. I mean, if you just look at this new Google anti-gravity thing, I haven't even used it yet, but like, it's like their competitor to Cursor.
Okay. Man, this space moves so freaking fast.
So fast. It's so fast, dude. It's insane. And so anyway, my thinking here is like, I do want to develop this process. I'm thinking of calling it like the builder method. And it's what I described earlier, like how I went about building like Filterhawk and my general process of like, idea to the design phase with the JSON, to the, getting mockups, and then developing specs with plan mode, building them out with agents, doing some refinements and getting it shipped. And I think that if I can build it into this like structure, then all of the tools and the tactics are always going to keep changing super fast. So we can always, maybe you like Cursor, maybe you like Claude Code, maybe you like anti-gravity, maybe you like VS Code. Like it doesn't matter. Maybe you like Agent OS, maybe you like plan mode with Claude Code. You can still run a spec-driven development process using any of these tools.
Yeah.
And like that's sort of like the mindset. And we in the community, we can be talking about like, hey, have you checked out this workflow or this new tool that just dropped or this new model? Like, does that slot in to the builder method way of building?
Yeah. I do like that, the builder method. I think there does seem to be a lot in here that's interesting to me. One is that there is some friction, like as you're saying, like this is the way people are building things, like this is the way to do it. I can hear all of the people on the opposite side of that aren't convinced yet. And I think there's a lot of interesting content. I even noticed the video you teased together inside of Builder Methods is...
Yeah, I dropped one today. I was
from AI skeptic to unfair advantage. So it's perfect
that's exactly
content.
The topic for today's video. I was on the Ruby... what's the name of that podcast? Oh, yeah.
Chris Oliver's podcast?
No, I want to get the name right and talk about it.
Okay. This is the video.
I was on one of these like Ruby on Rails podcasts last week, and you know, a lot of Ruby on Rails developers, just like a lot of Laravel developers and everyone, like they're still like, oh, man, I feel like I'm losing my craft to AI, and I'm trying to push back on that. Like, look, we still have our craft, and we are actually at an advantage having been full stack developers and engineers and architects, but the tools like the actual writing of code, that is a solved problem now. Like, I'm sorry, you just cannot make the argument to me that like it makes like one mistake or code something in a slightly different style than you would, and it's ruining your whole code base. Like, I'm sorry, no, that's not true anymore. Like, it might have been true a year ago. It's not today.
What do you say to the people though that, there's going to be a lot of experienced developers that are like, I like that part. Like that, in some ways that was, that one discussion we had with Adam, that was the clip that went viral, was Adam saying, AI just automates all the boring boilerplate stuff and lets me hand code, which is the thing I like. But now it feels like you're going another step and going, so do you have I think people can still hand code, I'm guessing, and get benefits, but
look, people, you can just do things, right? You can always just do things. And if you love the art form and the poetry of hand coding your own programming on the page, I totally get that. I love that too. But at the end of the day, in a professional context, when there is, it's just like, at a certain point, it just becomes ridiculous. Like, it's one thing if you're doing it for fun and for craft or for a hobby or for your own little MVP on the side, nights and weekends, you want to craft it the way you want to do it, fine. But you can't make the argument that like it's not like that these tools are going to slow companies down or produce worse products than like not in 2025 and not in 2026. Like, this is a new time.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I know I sound like I'm a whatever, like a AI boy on here, but like that is where we are. Like,
you do need to have a strong opinion about it. I think that part's great.
But also it's like, why did I get into it in the first place? Right? Like, yeah, I like getting technical with code and everything, but really I'm a product guy. Like, I learned Ruby on Rails because I want to design and ship products. And so we cannot, like, AI is incapable of knowing what product to build, knowing how to solve the problem for the customer, understanding the customer's need, the job
having
to be
taste,
done,
having intuition,
even from the technical architecture, like deciding on the right tech stack or the right technical approach for solving this problem. Like, that's still us, and that is where we come to the table with an advantage over the non-technical vibe coders, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you should see the chat. It's gone crazy because I think we're hitting on a nerve here. So this is why this is such a great content topic for you, because I think there's all sorts of other interesting things. Like, for the person that loves to hand code, there's lots of opportunities for you to teach these models how you do things. Like, you could walk through how you're coding things, record the transcript or use Whisper or whatever, feed that in and say, hey, I want you to hear my process of thinking as I'm writing this code, and I would like you to replicate that style, those kind of decision-making matrices into your model. And you can still hand code, but now you're just also using it to train the model and make it better. And one day you might, be like, man, I'm behind and I need something that writes code pretty close to the way I do.
Yeah. And it's not just about going faster. Like, I am building insanely fast, like so much faster than before, but it's not even about that. Like, I actually think that I'm building much better final products when I can, when my mode of building is interacting with an agent. And there, you can go deep on this. You can get technical on this. It's not just a box on a lovable interface in your vibe coding. Like, there are more layers to this if you start to lean into it. And so and also like in a professional context, like for companies building products, like there is a reason why CEOs and CTOs are telling their teams like, we need to get on this. Like they're not just following trends. Like there is a sense of like sort of missing the boat, falling behind, and some of that is like justified.
I will say that I think for those people with experience, your experience is still going to be incredibly helpful in how you guide and review code produced by AI.
That's also the big misconception too, is like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, AI is just going to replace us. Like, I don't believe that at all. I think professional software builders, we very, very much have a role here, and that is architecting, that is owning the products. Like every individual on like any professional SaaS is still going to need to have software professionals using agents.
I think what's challenging about AI in particular is it is way bigger and different than other abstractions we've had before. So nobody writes machine code anymore. And when we went from machine code to the next abstraction layer up, there were a lot of machine coders who were like, no, we shouldn't be doing this. You're going to have memory leaks. You're going to have all sorts of problems that we can deal with at this stage. You're going to build bloated software. And then it was like, well, no, let's get to, I don't know, what was first, C? Was it C or C++? And then it's like, well, here's, how many people write in those languages, or COBOL or any of those? No, we have. And then you even get up to like Ruby, which is like a very abstracted language that's running in the browser. And then it's like,
and then you got Ruby on Rails. Right?
And then you got Ruby on Rails. And it's like all these arguments was like, oh, Ruby on Rails adds this whole scaffolding and everything, that who would ever use this? It's such a, and then it's like, well, it's actually better, where I don't want to have to write all that boilerplate. And so this is, there's one argument, which is just, we're just following in that same abstraction line, but AI is different. It's not like we're just like, this isn't not just like another nice layer on top of abstraction. This is even bigger than that. It's more multidimensional than that. So I can understand strong feelings around it for sure.
I get it. But also like, I think because it is such a huge step change, like step change is not even a strong enough word. It's like what you're saying. It's a much bigger thing. That's why I'm thinking in terms of like, I think I need like a process, like a course or a framework that says like, let's rethink our whole process from the ground up with an AI first approach, right? Like the design phase, we do that, in collaboration with Claude and a JSON sample data, and then we generate a design off that, and then we iterate off that. Like instead of like hand coding in Figma or hand designing in Figma, it's just like I think the and this is where like Agent OS is starting to feel a little bit outdated. It was like that was like training the agents to hand code like we hand code, but really we need to go deeper than that and say like, if we're starting from scratch in a world where we have these AI tools available to us, what's actually the optimal process from the ground up? And like that's how we need to start to think about it. And that's exactly what I did last week, and it resulted in building what I think is like a pretty nice little finished product in 4 days. I mean,
and there will be lots of examples of shitty products made with AI. Like that will be true. Yeah. Just like there's lots of examples of shitty products made by indie hackers before AI. That's always been the case.
Yeah. There's shitty products from huge companies too.
Yes, yes. And I think it will. I think a course like that would be great. I think especially if you do it in cooperation with some teams, like start to figure out how teams, because even I can see like a pull request review process totally changing. So instead of saying, oh, hey, like this, and this, go, hey, we don't really, structure things this way in our code base. Why don't you take this prompt, bring it back in, and say, we want to get it kind of in this area. And there's going to be more back and forth in that kind of way, you know?
That actually brings up one more thing I wanted to get your feedback on. Like I'm thinking about like the areas where I have gaps right now in the business, in my visibility, in my interaction with customers. And I get a lot of survey data. I get a lot of feedback. I get a lot of just straight purchases of Builder Methods Pro, but I still feel like I don't fully understand my customers, or I don't really know all the different customer avatars and the true pains and problems and things that they're dealing with. And especially in the Teams context, like I just have my small shop here. It's just me and a couple of assistants here. A lot of it is just me solo. So I know that a lot of the buyers are coming from these larger companies with larger teams, which I don't have as much personal experience with, at least not lately. So, and I do these monthly workshops where people are coming in and they ask a lot of questions and stuff. But I'm starting to kick around the idea of like maybe one of the new benefits in Builder Methods Pro will be some sort of office hours. Maybe once or twice a month, I'll throw up a Zoom, and it's not a workshop where I'm talking. It's more like, hey, members, whoever wants to join in. It's sort of like open Q&A. Like you come and bring your questions, and I'll hang out and I'm just here to connect you all. Like I'll give you my opinions, but really I want to hear from team leaders. I want to hear from independents. I want to hear from non-technical people. I think especially
if you targeted the office hours. This is office hours for teams or team leaders. This is office hours for individual contributors. I think segmenting those, you'll get, because the worst thing is to have a big office hours, one person saying, how do I start my computer? And the other people are saying, like, there's just a mismatch. So I think segmenting it would be good. The other thing I think I would offer if I was you is you're already getting inbound from teams. I would pitch a team on saying, hey, my normal rate is whatever, $500,000. Instead of you paying me $500,000, pay me $200,000 and agree that we are going to document the whole thing. So we're going to document, we're going to make a little documentary on this, which is just, we'll do calls, but I'm going to hear from your team members that are pushing back. We're going to work through some of these common issues that real people are having. When I talk to the people here in my co-working place, it's all over. People they're like, I know I should be checking this out. I haven't even looked. Like I've used ChatGPT for my own productivity, but I haven't even pasted any code in a web chat box yet. But I know I should. And to other people who are like, I'm trying to convince my company, my company just got acquired, and I'm trying to convince the boss we need to be doing this. We're moving so slow, and I need some help in convincing the boss that we got to do this. And here's the benefits.
It's interesting. I had a bunch of leads like that in like 2 months ago. Some of them were from huge companies, like 400 plus employees. Some of them were from 50 employee companies. A couple of them were like smaller shops. I had a bunch of sales calls with those people. I pitched different quotes on like me giving a private workshop to their team, to their large teams, having like a 1 week open office hours with their teams, and sort of had a bunch of calls around like, these are the pain points, and exactly what you were saying. Like maybe everyone is sort of like slow to adopt, but there's like 10% who are super hyped about being champions of AI within the company. And it was weird. I had a lot of like leads and prospects and really, I thought, good sales calls, but like no bites. Or I had a few small engagements that went through, but like nothing. Like it wasn't like, oh, like shut up and take my money. Like, they sort of just went cold. And I did some follow-ups and stuff, but not too hard. And then at that point, I just started to really focus on the monthly workshops and the Builder Methods Pro. And in Builder Methods Pro, I did add a way to buy multiple seats, and a few people do that. But for the most part, it's like, individual sales, although I think that they are using company credit cards
Yeah.
for a lot of them. So I don't
think
know.
a
Like
call out.
part of it was also like I don't want to spread myself too thin, but I do
Mhm.
still agree with you that there is. I hear it all the time. I see it. There's a need out there with larger teams.
Yeah. I mean,
And like maybe it's just like a special sales page for Builder Methods Pro that's aimed specifically at teams, but really you're just buying like 50 seats for Builder Methods Pro.
oh, I think you should offer that for sure. I think this is a hard ask, especially for a lot of these companies that are having this challenge, because a lot of the companies that are having this challenge are not the kind of companies that want to be a case study. But it might still be worth trying it a few more times, like a call out for companies that might be interested in being a case study and being specific. I'm looking for a company, a team that is considering adopting AI, but hasn't really, and there's lots of pushback internally and confusion. And I want to just do 3 or 4 calls with people on your team and see if we can work through this. And I mean, I did actually, Stripe invited me. Stripe does these like team office hours that are so interesting. So they assembled the whole team that was around this one feature. And then they had me call in and just say, hey, like, I just want you to talk about your experience with this particular thing. And then I talked, and then they all just got to ask questions like, da, 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 da. And I could see something similar with you, just like, hey, like, let me call in, have your whole team assembled, and then let's go back and forth. Like, what about this? What about this? And I mean,
I sort of pitched versions of that. I probably could do a better follow through on it, but I think a lot of I still think like the whole, it's like these teams and the leaders, the CTOs, the CEOs, like they feel this need and this pain, but they're also like, it's so new that they don't know what to buy or how to solve that problem. They know they feel it. They don't quite know the shape of what they need to do about it.
And a lot of it is going to be giving. I mean, I think a lot of people are already taking your stuff, especially this video that you just. Is this public yet? This video, or is it's not released yet? The one you just talked about here, master
I
these
published
skills
one this morning.
Oh, okay.
On my channel, yeah.
This one
I
here.
actually made it like the cover video on my channel today.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, master these skills.
I mean, that's the kind of video that people are going to share internally. Go, hey, like, I know we're having these conversations. Like, here's something else that listen to my friend Brian. He's got some ideas, and maybe we should just explore this as a team.
Also, part of it is like I still need to learn a lot, especially from what's happening in teams. Like I have this concept for this process, like the builder method, but I need to see how that lands, how that gets adopted in teams. And that's where I think like a series of office hours and hearing questions and hearing like, yeah, I tried to implement this with my team and here's what went down. And like, I need to get a feel for that, because I don't know that I feel qualified to talk to a team of,
as long as you can, as long as you are just hosting in a sense, to say, you can say, listen, I have a guy that's done a lot of this. I've explored this. I haven't been a part of a big team in a long time, but I do have a perspective that might be helpful for you. Because some of the questions might just be like the CEO going, well, I haven't heard much about this, but like, what do you think if we were going to invest in one thing, what should we do? And you could say, well, here's a couple ideas, Cursor or Claude, Code or whatever. Like, I would just get started on that.
Yeah. I also just think like having a framework, like having some, like, I don't think that it's Agent OS anymore. I think it needs to just be like a more general process that any tools can slot into. Because that's the other thing about teams is like usually most teams are like, well, we're really all about Jira, or we have the whole team using Cursor, or we have the whole team using VS Code. So or Claude Code. Like, so like it's like you should, and I think that's the right way to think about this era that we're in, is like you could use any tools. They're all still following the same process. you know?
Yes. The other thought that just came to my mind was you could do a video. You can have videos and content that are like the one demo that will convince your team to adopt AI. Like, I think there's lots of companies. Like, there's this like tiny iceberg of companies that have even done any sort of adoption of AI. And then there's this giant, massive iceberg, even within technology. And, you know, we're talking about like enterprise software and consulting. Like, most of the GDP is probably actually here, and they are dragging their feet. They are not in this. And I think people are looking for tools on what can I show my boss? How can I convince my team? What assets are you going to give me? Like, you know, six Slack messages to send your CTO about. I mean, that might be a bad one, but you know, like those kinds of assets, I think are I think will be interesting. And yeah,
but it's also like, I don't mean to push back on this because I think I do agree. I felt like there has been a missed opportunity here with teams and with larger budgets than independents. But at the same time, I got to be honest, there's part of me that's like, well, I'm an independent builder. So like my comfort zone is talking to the solopreneurs, the small SaaS companies, the transistors of the world, right? Like the teams of 5, 10, like those are the people that I actually relate to. And I also do know for sure that there is a pretty big segment of customers in Builder Methods Pro who are that. Like it's not all teams. There definitely and there are also some people who are like truly non-technical. Like I've had the question come in like, hey, I know you're sort of marketing to professional developers. I sort of don't know how to code, but I've been following your stuff and I'm into it. So I still get a segment. So it's like I'm still trying to figure out who my ideal customer is, both from where is the most demand, but also like what's the best fit for me, you know?
Yeah. Here's one more perspective. Independents, fast moving independents have always been the ones that are kind of out blazing the trail and then writing blog posts and creating videos that then get shared around big companies. It's the independent, the small, agile, crazy one that can figure a lot of this stuff out, but that stuff absolutely gets shared in big companies. I have this hilarious example, which is this post on Hacker News, how remote work changed my life. Ended up being how actually we started this co-working place, because there was a guy working in Vernon who worked for SAP, one of the biggest enterprise software companies ever, that saw this post on Hacker News, read it, and shared it in their local chat, whatever they were using, and ended up generating a great discussion. And he used it as kind of an asset with his boss to say, remote work can work, for a company like ours. And I was just a little independent working for a small little software company. So I think we've always had more influence as, the crazy ones, the ones that are out doing stuff. And in some ways, enterprise companies I think this is why 37 Signals still has so much voice, is I think there's all these people in crusty old companies that are like, hey, finally, I've got something I can show the team and say, I know we can't go all the way, but here, let's use this for some of it, And
you know what? There are indies who are really using AI. And so I started recording this new show. It's not published yet, but I've recorded 3 episodes. It'll probably just end up being called like the Builder Methods Show. It'll be on the YouTube channel, probably a podcast version too, but it's very visual. I'm inviting fellow independent builders. You don't have to be independent, but like people building. Show me your screen, show me your workflow, show me the tool. Do you like Claude Code? Do you like using GitHub issues? Do you like using Cursor? Like what's your flow? How do you lay out your screen? Like, it's super fascinating. So I had Arvid Kahl on the first one.
Cool.
Spoke to Mike Buckby, spoke to Christian Janko. I'm talking to Brendan Dunn next week. So these are guys who, and what's so fast. I'm so psyched about this new show. I can't wait to get it out. It's so fascinating how every single person is doing it so differently. and these are guys who are fully embracing AI in their workflow. Like Arvid is like his product, like Podcast Scanner, I think it's called.
Podscan, I think.
Podscan.
Yeah.
Like he's all about Claude Code. Like it's generating all of his work, you know. And he showed me his whole screen and like everything, and it's fascinating, man. It's like, and it's just so interesting to see how we've all got these like different little tools and best practices, and some do use sort of like a spec driven, some don't at all, and it's a totally different approach, but they're still using it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I just got to figure out how to get this like edited and post-produced.
Maybe just got to do it live. You've got all this practice just doing things live now. Look at us. We're live streaming this.
I know, man.
All right, well, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
This was a good one. I got to go.
All right, I'm going to go this time.
This was a good one. So much great interaction in the chat. Folks, if you're listening at home or watching at home and you missed the live chat, we record most Thursdays starting at 12:15 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, sir. I guess next week it'll be Thanksgiving over here. So
yes, we'll probably skip next week, I'm guessing. Come back next week because Dave Junta will have written his opinionated blog post about AI and teams. I want to hear that. Keith, you're right. Cold plunge part 2. That's Canadian Thanksgiving already happened. There's no reason I could join me in the sauna next week as we go live.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Later, folks.